follow anything to know. Follow them up.
Yeah, you got to live up to that.
As you saw some of our videos there earlier on, you can tell that the lighting's not off here. I really am just burnt. Not all sunscreen is created equal. But we had a good day yesterday, and that's what the church does for a lot of us. It gives us a vitality of life that we're all looking for, and that's something that we should all strive for in each part of our life. I've been talking about this for a couple of weeks. Who am I? And we're on this is part 3. Isaac asked me how many parts there were. I said there's probably 37 to 30. I'm just kidding. We started out talking about Moses and how Moses was he was in the big house, right? He lived in the Pharaoh's house, and God humbled him and moved him into the desert as a shepherd. And while he was in the desert, he taught him a lot about what he expected of Moses and what he needed him to be. Then last week, we talked about Judas and Peter. How Judas and Peter were the exact same people. And the only difference was that Peter, in his mistakes, stood there humbly and accepted the grace of Jesus Christ, the blood of Christ, and allowed his life to be restored. Whereas Judas allowed his mistakes to condemn his life and to fall into hell. And we all have that choice every day of our lives. We can either be condemned in our faith, or we can be restored in it. And the heart that we approach it with, it really is our choice. It's our decisions, like Peter showed us last week. This week, so we moved from the Old Testament to the New. Now we're going to jump back into the Old Testament for today. And as we go into this, today I want to talk to you about Jacob and Esau, 2 brothers. And as some of you could probably sympathize with this is a family ordeal, so there was going to be a fight. All right, this is West Virginia. We got some Hatfields and some Fulhams. All right, this is the account of the family line of Abraham's son Isaac. Abraham became the father of Isaac, and Isaac was 40 years old when he married Rebekah, daughter of Bethuel the Aramean from Padan Aram, and the sister of Laban the Aramean. Isaac prayed to the Lord on behalf of his wife because she was childless. The Lord answered his prayer, and his wife Rebekah became pregnant. The babies jostled each other within her, and she said, "Why is this happening to me?" So she went to inquire of the Lord. I remember Misty saying this about our twins when they were in the womb. She said it's like they're at war in there every day. You know, she was constantly moving and rolling, trying to get comfortable, because it was like from the very beginning they were competing with one another to see who could get the upper hand. The Lord said to her, 2 nations are in your womb. 2 peoples from within you will be separated. One will be stronger than the other, and the older one will serve the younger. When the time came for her to give birth, there were twin boys in her womb. The first to come out was red, and his whole body was like a hairy garment, so they named him Esau. And after this, his brother came out with his hand grasping Esau's heel, so he was named Jacob. Isaac was 60 years old when Rebekah gave birth to them. So from the very beginning, the first child born, his name is Esau. He has red hair, and he's covered with hair, and he's coming out of the womb, and here comes Jacob, and he's holding on to that heel. He's grabbing from the very beginning, fighting from the very beginning, because he wants what he's got. Right? I'm going to take what brother has right there, and I'm going to start from day one. Day one it begins as we move forward. The boys grew up, and Esau became a skillful hunter, a man of the open country. So, as you can see right from the beginning, who's this? This is a boy that's making Dad proud, right? He's out in the woods, he's out in the fields, he understands the terrain and the territory. He's self-sufficient. He knows how to survive. He's a craftsman of sorts on survival and getting by. And while Jacob was content to stay at home among the tents, what's that tell us? Today we call that a mama's boy, right? He said he's a mama's boy. Well, there's a lot of good mama's boys out there. Jacob's one of them. All right, Isaac, who had a taste for wild game, loved Esau, but Rebekah loved Jacob, who is the mother. So we got Dad showing favor, Isaac showing favor for Esau, Rebekah showing favor for Jacob. Now, once when Jacob was cooking some stew, Esau came in from the open country, famished. He said to Jacob, "Quick, let me have some of that red stew. I'm famished." One thing we notice here about Jacob, he's taking care of home plate. He's doing the things he's supposed to be doing right around here. Esau has been out hunting and running around and running amok all day long. And what's he? At the end of the day, hungry. He's been playing, and he's hungry now as we move forward. Jacob replied, "First, sell me your birthright." Now, first, we would say, how many of you would, if your brother or sister came to you and was starving to death, would deny them a bowl of soup if you had? Anybody here? If it was Isaac, I would, just for spiritual. Yes, me and Isaac. Yes. We have to test one another. But you wouldn't, right? That's exactly right. Because this is what we're going to look at, as spiritual parable. We're going to look at a spiritual parable and not a physical bowl of soup, okay? But he denied him. Jacob said, but Jacob replied, "First, sell me your birthright." Okay? He says, Esau says, "Look, I'm about to die. What good is the birthright to me?" But Jacob said, "Swear to me first." So he swore an oath to him, so that's selling his birthright to Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau some bread and some lentil stew. He ate and drank and then got up and left. And from that point forward, Esau despised his birthright. Esau was running around. He was focused on all of the things that brought joy to his flesh. And he wasn't taking care of that spiritual side of his birthright. And even though the birthright didn't belong to Jacob, Jacob was doing the things that he needed to do to have it. To have it. So we moved forward. And it ended up getting it out of Esau with a bowl of soup. Now in Genesis 26, he talks about when Esau was 40 years old, he married Judith, the daughter of Beeri the Hittite, and also Basemath, daughter of Elon the Hittite. They were a source of grief to Isaac and Rebekah. What's this tell us about Esau? Here's two women that weren't Israelites. They weren't Jewish. They were from a different religion completely. They didn't believe in the same things. So that tells me that Esau was focused even more on the flesh. He was focused on what was pleasing to his eyes, right? He was focused on what pleased him sensually, physically, sexually, all of those things. And he wasn't focused on that spiritual side that Jacob was focused on at this point. So these girls were what? A source of grief to not only Esau, but also Esau's parents. And his young folks here, and his older folks. You should be in agreement on who you date. If mom and dad are looking at you saying, "I don't like this kid," they're probably not doing it to be a jerk.
No.
They're probably doing it because they see something in that person that is not good for you, right? So be in agreement. And that road runs both ways. As kids and as parents, there's a reason we sit down and we communicate with one another about who we're dating, or who we're going out with, or where we're going places with. Be in communication and be in agreement on those things. Genesis 27, moving forward. When Isaac was old and his eyes were so weak that he could no longer see, he called for Esau, his older son, and he said to him, "My son, here I am," he answered, as Esau answered. Isaac said, "I'm now an old man, and I don't know the day of my death. Now then, get your equipment, your quiver and your bow, and go out to the open country to hunt some wild game for me. Prepare for me the kind of tasty food I like, and bring it to me to eat, so that I may give you my blessing before I die." So Isaac is looking at his oldest son Esau, who he has found favor in over the years, and he's saying, "I can't see, I can hardly hear, I know that the day of my death is near. Son, I want you to go do what you do best. Go out there and hunt. Fix me a meal that's tasty that I like to eat. Now, Rebekah was listening to that conversation between Isaac and her son Esau. And what was listening is Isaac spoke to his son Esau. When Esau left for the open country to hunt that game and bring it back, Rebekah said to her son Jacob, see, this is where Mom has a lot of advantages in the house that Dad doesn't. Because there's a lot of times, Dad, we work like bulldozers, we're one-track minds, and we just, we're not multitaskers. I got one thing on my mind, and Misty will try and talk to me, and it's like I can't even hear. And she said, did you hear me? And I said, then I lie, and I said, yes. And then she said, what did I say? And then I can't get out of that lie. You know what I mean? It's like we're one-track minded. But Mom's not. She's paying attention to everything that's going on in the house. Rebekah said to her son Jacob, look, I overheard your father say to your brother Esau, bring me some game and prepare me some tasty food so that I may give you my blessing in the presence of the Lord before I die. She says, now my son, listen carefully and do what I tell you. Go out to the flock, bring me 2 choice young goats so that I can prepare some food for your father the way he likes it. Then take it to your father to eat so that he may give you his blessing before he dies. Now, is this a case where a mother is trying to spite Esau, her other son? No. What's happening here is Mom sees what's going on. Mom knows that Esau is focused on all of the things of his flesh. And she knows that. And she cares about the future of her family. She cares about that lineage being carried on to 12 tribes eventually. So what's she doing? She's intervening. Because she wants that blessing to land in the hands of somebody who is going to use it. And is going to use it to prosper spiritually for God and for her family. And that's where we all have an obligation to be alert and be alive to the things around us. This isn't about just not liking Esau or being mad at him. It's simply saying, your focus is in the wrong place. It's on all of the things of the flesh out there. As we move forward. Now, Jacob said to Rebekah, his mother, but my brother Esau is a hairy man while I have smooth skin. What if my father touches me? I would appear to be tricking him and would bring down a curse on myself rather than a blessing. And his mother said to him, my son, let the curse fall on me. Just do what I say. Go and get them for me. Wow, right? We put the blood of Jesus in that too. There's going to be times that you as moms and dads and you all as Christians and as folks in ministry, you're going to have to bear a burden that you may not want to bear. But if your heart's in the right place, it's going to be for the right reason. And and Rebekah is showing us here that there's a time and a place for those things. So he went and got them and brought them to his mother, and she prepared some tasty food, the way that his father liked it. Then Rebekah took the best clothes of Esau, her older son, which she had in the house, and put them on her younger son Jacob. So now she is dressing him up and trying to make him look like Esau. She also covered his hands and the smooth part of his neck with goat skins. And she handed her son Jacob the tasty food and the bread she had made. He went to his father and said, my father. Yes, my son, he answered. Who is it? So you can tell that Isaac at this point is, he's pretty much gone. His eyes are failing, his ears are failing, all of these things as we move to the next paragraph. Jacob said to his father, I am Esau, your firstborn. I've done as you've told me. Please sit up and eat some of my game so that you may give me your blessing. Isaac asked his son, how did you find it so quick, my son? You see, Isaac knows something's up at this point, but his physical skills aren't allowing him to keep pace with the thing that's going on around him. The Lord gave me success, he said. Then Isaac said to Jacob, come here so I can touch you to know whether you are really my son Esau or not. So Jacob moves closer. And there's only times in our life that God is asking us to move closer to Him on a spiritual level. He needs us to draw nearer to Him. There's going to be times that we have to turn our back to the things of the world. The flesh of this world that is constantly dragging us away from what God is wanting to do with our lives. There's going to be times we offend some people around us. There's going to be times that we move into a new realm of friendship and away from an old realm of friendship. There's going to be times that we sever ties with certain members of our family to gain new family membership in other places. This is the Word of God, not the Word of Pastor Rick. Jacob went close to his father, who touched him and said, "The voice is the voice of Jacob, but the hands are the hands of Esau." He did not recognize him, for his hands were hairy like those of his brother Esau. So he proceeded to bless him at this point. "Are you really my son Esau?" he asked. He replied, "I am." So we move forward. He said, "My son, bring me some of your game to eat, that I may give you my blessing." So Jacob brought it to him, and he ate, and he brought him some wine, and he drank that also. So he went to him and kissed him. Now Isaac caught the smell of his clothes, and this is the blessing that he bestowed upon him. "The smell of my son is like the smell of the field the Lord has blessed. May God give you heaven's dew and earth's richness, an abundance of grain and wine. May nations serve you, and people bow down to you. Be Lord over your brothers. And may the sons of your mother bow down to you. And may those who curse you be cursed. Those who bless you be blessed." God is saying, in this blessing, I'm going to give you all of the things that you need for the journey that stands before you. There is no reason to doubt. We may not like some of the things that we endure in that process. We may not like some of the things that come our way. But with God's blessing, we'll have everything we need. It will be there. And after Isaac finished blessing him, Jacob had scarcely left his father's presence. His brother Esau had come in from hunting, and he too prepared some tasty food and brought it to his father. "Father, please sit up and eat some of my game, so that you may give me your blessing." His father asked him, "Well, who are you?" "I've already been through this once today. Who are you?" He says, "I'm your son," he answered, "your firstborn Esau." Isaac trembled violently. Who is it then that hunted game and brought it to me? I ate it just before you came, and I blessed him, and indeed he will be blessed." When Esau heard his father's words, he burst out with a loud and bitter cry and said to his father, "Bless me too. Bless me too, my father." But he said, "Your brother came deceitfully and took your blessing." You see what happened back there? Esau realized at that point where he wails out, he's saying, "Bless me too." At this point, I believe in Esau's mind, he knows that he's screwed up. He had waited too long. He had messed around spiritually. He had been focused on all of the things of his flesh and hadn't taken care of any of those things spiritually, and the opportunity for that birthright and that blessing were gone. God had placed it in the hands of Jacob. "I have made him Lord over you, and have made all of his relatives and servants. And I have sustained him with grain and wine. So what can I possibly do for you?" Esau said to his father, "You have only one blessing, my father. Bless me too." Then Esau wept aloud at that point. Now, his father answered him, "Here is your blessing. Here is your blessing. Your dwelling place will be away from the earth's richness and away from the dew of heaven above. You will live by the sword, and you will serve your brother. But when you grow restless, you will throw his yoke from off of your neck." And Esau held a grudge against Jacob because of this blessing. He said to himself, "The days of mourning for my father are near, and now I kill my brother Jacob." Do you see the similarities in each of our lives? You see, this is a parable for us. We may not be in Jacob or Esau's shoes here. But the Lord has taken each one of us in our life, each one of us, and He's given us a birthright. To accept Christ. To accept Christ. No one can give that to us. No one can take it away from us. But we can give it away by allowing our focus to be on a lot of other things. And what about those blessings? God has given you gifts, talents, wisdom, knowledge, miracles, healings, all of these things. Discerning of spirits. He's given us all of these gifts, but we choose to allow them to sit idle while we focus on all of those things. And there were times in my life where I was as guilty of this as anybody. I really like cows. Love them. Love them. I like to feed them. I like to take care of them. I like to watch over them. And you know what? They don't give me no problems up there at the end of Schumann Run, where it's quiet and the birds are always singing and they're always chirping. And there's not a lot of people or neighbors around, so I don't have to deal with all that either. Esau used to live up there. Is there an Esau in your life somewhere? Is there an Esau in your heart? Is he in there? Because God's desiring Jacob. God's desiring Jacob right now in each one of us. He needs us to be willing to take those gifts and those talents and those abilities and make application to our life with them. When Rebekah was told that her oldest son Esau had said she sent for her younger son Jacob, and she was going to convince her husband that he needs to flee because she can't put up with any more of these Hittite women. And Jacob needs a woman that's going to be in likeness in retrospect to their lives. So she had convinced Isaac to allow Jacob to go to her brother to find wives there. When your brother's no longer angry with you and forgets what you did to him, I'll send word for you to come back here. Why should I lose both of you in one day? Mom has the wisdom to see what's happening here. She loves both of her children, but she knows that one of them has made a spiritual choice to accept the blessing, and she knows that the other one has not. But she loves them enough. She wants them both to make it through this. She said to Isaac, I'm disgusted with living with these Hittite women. And this is where she makes the choice to send him away to the brother to find a spouse. As we go to the next slide. And in our life, we come to this point in a lot of times, at a crossroad. At some point in time, we're going to be faced with an Esau or a Jacob in our life. We're going to be faced with accepting that. But you know, this isn't just about being at church on Sunday morning. It's not just about that. Because I know there's been times in my life that the Esau in me didn't take care of a marriage. But he needed to. Or there's been a time in me that the Esau didn't take care of his kids the way that he needed to. Or there's been times in this Esau that he didn't take care of his spiritual journey the way that he needed to. And this scripture shows me that you either use it or you can lose it. Use it or lose it. And that goes for your marriage. That goes for your relationships with your kids. That goes for your relationships with your neighbors, your jobs, and God. That's not the words of Pastor Rick. Those are the words of the living God. And those are hard words for us to hear sometimes. But sometimes I think we become so complacent in our faith that sometimes the only thing that will shake us and wake us up is the Word of God itself. Because that's from Him. That doesn't come from a pastor on Sunday morning. That's the heart of the living God, and He desires a deeper relationship with each one of us. Which road are you on? Which road are you on this morning? Are you on the road with Esau? Or are you on the road with Jacob? Are you living passionately in Christ with the people around you, in your homes, in your marriage, in your families, with your neighbors, in your jobs, in your church? Are you passionate in those things? Are you waiting? Are you focused on the flesh and waiting for Jacob to come in and take those things from you? Because there's a lot of people watching and waiting out there, and we need to be alert, and we need to be alive spiritually in all of this. The crossroads in life. Which road will you choose? Who are you this morning? Who are you? I know there's times I've been like Moses. There's times I've been like Judas. There's times I've been like Peter. There's times I've been like Esau. But today, Do you choose to be like Jacob? Do you choose to accept the birthright and accept the blessing? Let's pray. Father God, we thank you for this day. We pray, Lord, that you would open our hearts and our minds in the Word, and continue to reveal to us, Lord, wisdom and knowledge, that you would help us to grow, that you would help us to seek you, that you would help us to show forgiveness and to accept it, that you would help us see what it is that you need us to be, Lord God, to be alive in this. We thank you and praise you in Jesus' name. Amen.